Travis Wayne Goodsell. So we're going to do a comment review here. I had one person who responded to the Mormon wall of spiritual witness faith, and that was a video clip that I took out of I schooled a retired Mormon school teacher who falsely accuses me. So it needs to be taken in the context of the beam and the mote. And so the person is commenting that the scriptures refer in the beam and the mote to the wicked non-believers. It is not non-believers and anti, is it? It is non-believers and antis who build walls. Yes. But guess what? It's Mormons who are the non-believers and the antis, because they made a false accusation. See, in so doing, this person reveals how they falsely accuse other people and think they're justified. Just to continue on with that theme. They're pulling a beam and a mote. On the beam and the mote, they already got caught. And it's another fallacy argument to accuse those who are targeted by you as wall builders because they're wall builders. That's a stupid argument. You're the one who built the wall with your stupid argument. So yeah, this person's got to go. They are not interested in what I have to say. And then we have another person. Is there no audio with this video? Which is, are Mormons ready for consequences of not hearkening to their Christ? And after I did it and I was watching it, I then remembered, oh crap, the war. And so I redid the video and included in it the part about the war. It's the other video. And as always, less people are watching the other video, which has more information for you. But no, there's no audio. You're supposed to read. What are the scriptures? They're what you read. You're supposed to read. So no, there's no audio. And so, no, it is not just your phone. Cell phones suck. Don't use cell phones. I mean, he already says the text is so small. It's because your phone is so small. I understand that with your phones, you can blow things up by flicking your fingers on it or something like that, but cell phones suck. Don't be watching videos on your cell phone. You should destroy them and burn them and demand that cell phones be banned. They're using GPS trackers, by the way. And China uses them to control the populace in a social control system. So, but yeah, try your computer. This is what I make the videos on. There's no way in hell I'm going to use a cell phone to make these videos. Dear God, no. So, but thanks for your appreciation. And then I had another person we'll put a thumbs up and a heart, who is discussing in his mind, and he did sort of ask me a question in it concerning a passage in Nephi talking about the prophecies of the Christ that are known unto the Christ, and he's wondering why they aren't known by the Christ. And it has to do with the meaning of the two words. Known to is a situation where he is the Christ, therefore he knows them. It's not a situation where they are known by him because he doesn't know who he is. He doesn't know his identity. And that's the big difference there, is that he's the Christ. He knows his identity, and so he already knows the prophecies. He doesn't know his identity by the prophecies. You, however, know his identity by the prophecies. That's the big difference. And that's what you are ordered to be doing. You're supposed to read your scriptures, identify the prophecies, so that you may know the identity of your Christ. And for those who are idol worshippers of Jesus, and I apparently have a new subscriber who's a reverend. I doubt he will last long. That you think that by reading your New Testament, you can know the Christ. That the more you read it, the more in tune you are with his identity, so that when he comes, you will know him. And so you focus on his words, because the sheep know his voice. And I again refer you to the first creed of Christianity, which created Jesus. They define his nature and character. The word is homuzion, and they define it, because Constantine made it up. And so it is defined as, wait for it, not real. The biggest con the world has ever seen. Multi-billions of people over 1,700 years have been duped. Amazing. So, yeah. And so, what also needs to be understood here is, even though that my focus is to convince Mormons that Emmanuel is the Christ, that Jesus is a symbol of prophecy by which you can identify Emmanuel, and Mormons are doing fulfillment of Scripture of their own by rejecting him and wanting him murdered and mocking him and scorning him and seeking to find fault with him. Section 45, Joseph Smith's prophecies about him. And about Mormons, he tells you right at the beginning, I am prophesying about you, Mormons, in the latter days. I am prophesying about you in the latter days, about your Christ. And all Mormons have missed it. It's amazing how something so simple and right in your face, and you miss it. But it's also for everyone who's branched off, even those who have left the church, because the church is wrong, and so you left them. But you never thought to wonder what the truth is. And that's been the sad reality, is that the church has deceived us so effectively that everybody is distracted away from the truth. The church has been so effective that they've published the Joseph Smith Papers. It's online, it's free. Anybody can use it to compare with their scriptures and find out what needs to be corrected. You know, like the bicentennial year we're in right now, the second vision. And yet, not a single Mormon is doing so. None of them, not even ex-Mormons, are going through the Joseph Smith Papers to find more dirt for their videos. They're sticking to the same old script. And it's wrong, but they're sticking to it. It just boggles my mind. When I learned about the Joseph Smith Papers, I was all over it. I wanted to know the real church history from the real source documents. Nobody else does. That's how effective Brigham Young's church has been in deceiving Mormons. And if you didn't know, the Community of Christ, which used to be the Reorganized or Reformed, Reorganized Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, do you know why it's called that? Having Jesus Christ in it? Well, it's because Joseph Smith III was a grown man. He went to Utah, scoped out the Brighamites, and then came back and formed his own church. Because he's the son of Joseph Smith, so he could do it better, he thought. No. You didn't know your father's works. And so all they had different was the Joseph Smith translation. And in there, they had gold, and they didn't realize it. Because if it hadn't have been for the 1979 edition of the Bible, where we had a Mormon who was responsible for getting permission from the Community of Christ to include certain portions of the Joseph Smith translation in that Bible version, as the Joseph Smith translation in the far back of the book that aren't footnoted, but they're referenced to if you know to look for them. That's how little the church treated them, even though they made a big stink about it. Oh yeah, oh, I got permission, and here they are. And I remember the lessons, including those. But it was the inclusion of Revelation chapter 12 that just drops the bomb. Nobody sees it. Because the Catholic Church has always interpreted it exactly like Constantine intended it to be interpreted, as literal history, and therefore it's a flashback. It's not really a sign in the heavens. Even though it says it is, it's not. It's literal history. It's a flashback of Jesus being born in 1 AD. Or whatever other date Christians argue over. Even Mormons argue. They denounce the Book of Mormon by saying it's 6th of April, 1 AD. The Book of Mormon says Lehi left Jerusalem, which was 597. And I remember that I was watching that video where I said that recently, and I got the wrong date. I said 587. There were 2 times. Babylon came in first to put their king on the throne, the son on the throne of Jerusalem, the puppet king. And that was 597 BCE. That's when Lehi left. And then they came back because the puppet king was not being a good boy. And so that was 586, 11 years later. And then they fully conquered it, destroyed the temple. And so, yeah, it's 4 CE, because there's no 0 year. So you have to add an extra year when you cross over the barrier. And nobody catches it. Nobody believes it. Mormons don't believe it. They don't believe the Book of Mormon, which is the keystone of Mormonism. And you'll see that Bruce R. McConkie, who put in the dates, dumbass, they're not dates. It's not literal history. They did exactly what Christians did with Constantine. They turned the scriptures into literal history rather than prophecies to the learning of the Jews. So, yeah, it's stupid. But all the prophecies have to do with the Mormon Christ because Joseph Smith said so. And you don't believe him. You believe in Jesus. So you denounce Joseph Smith. And I can keep reading it for you. I mean, the majority of you know about the one mighty and strong. And you're wondering who he is, who will set the temple in order. And even I got fooled by the church's brainwashing and indoctrination, as I used to believe that it was a millennial prophet under Jesus. But the Jesus question always disturbed me. It never made sense. Now I know why. It's simple. So yeah, it's kind of disappointing that there are Jews for Jesus. There are those who left the church and therefore are antis and non-believers, and then join that great and abominable church of Christianity. Hilarious. But section 103 verse 16. And of course it's not in the footnotes, is it? I wonder why the church did not footnote this. Because it has to do with the second vision. Verse 40, he tells us who our Christ is. The Isaiah passage? Yeah, that's about our Christ. And it also says that Joseph Smith is our Christ. The two are working together, just like the Book of Mormon in 2 Nephi chapter 3. Again, repeated, both Joseph Smith Jr., and they call him out by name in that one, and the future Christ of Mormons are the Mormon Christ. Right there for all Mormons to see, and yet hidden, so that when Brigham Young replaced everything with literal history and Jesus, Mormons got blinded. And the Book of Mormon became a stumbling block to Mormons. But it's referring also, the passage in Acts, to the Jewish Christ, the man like Moses, who is the one mighty and strong. That's just referring to another prophecy of him. And so Joseph Smith says, I will raise up. That's the words from the Jewish Messiah passage in Deuteronomy, which they do reference that in verse 40. They just won't reference this. A man like Moses unto my people. And again, not by my people. He is the Christ. And so you will know by the prophecy here who we will be. You will know his identity, because he will be a Mormon, born and raised in the church. And as I also put in my comment to the guy, he is not the president of the church, as I put in my videos. You keep looking to follow the president of the church, and you will not believe me. You will not respect me. You'll make all sorts of false accusations against me, revealing your fault. It was a trap. The beam and mote tried to warn you. You didn't listen, you didn't believe, and you fell for it. And then you justified it by saying, I will falsely accuse him, and he will then say that I falsely accused him, and therefore I have the same and worse fault myself, and so I will then respond with, that's exactly what a false accuser would say. Oh, so dumb. Wickedness is so dumb. Unbelievable. And so, yes, Mormons are even told they will be born and raised in the great abominable church. Because this man like Moses will lead Mormons. No, he won't. Mormons have rejected him. You missed the Exodus, in case you hadn't noticed in the videos. Led out of bondage by power and a stretched out arm. Yeah, now it's destruction, Mormons. Good job. Hope you can live with the consequences, because you're wanting to deny watching the videos so that you won't see what the consequences are that you've been rejecting. Mormons are just so stupid. And I refer again to the false accusing retired teacher. There is no other way to communicate with stupid people. You have to tell them they're stupid. You have to tell them of the consequences of being stupid. They will not listen. So I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day. It will be your last. You will be then part of Memorial Day. That's part of the consequence.